The new event brought some really interesting stuff, like a secret button, a new ability everybody's gonna get, an insane prestige skin, and the start to what I'm gonna call the Fortnite meta in Apex. So let's get into it. But first of all, let's address the elephant in the room, or the Australian in the room, the Fuse Heirloom. It's really awesome, and it's got some really interesting animations, and some which are kind of shocking. Because first of all, it does have a shoey animation. Of course, he's an Aussie, he has to have a shoey animation. And exclusively, when you crouch and inspect, you do get this animation where he looks at his ultimate, and the best one. Fuse and Bloodhound actually share third-person animations for the Heirloom. Showing Bloodhound has kind of taught Fuse how to use this, most likely because in lore, the Heirloom is a gift from Bloodhound to Fuse. Also, the skulls in the brand new Halloween mode, well, is this Halloween? I don't really know, are really damn awesome. They actually speak to you if you hold them out. They have some default voice lines when used with pretty much any legends, but when you use a skull with Revenant, they say some really nasty stuff to him.
Let me show you how to be a competent killer. Well, if it isn't my double, always surprised you're still alive.
But I'm not gonna lie, these little guys are kind of funny and actually really powerful. And later in this video, we're gonna touch on some really cool stuff about them. But one way you can use these skulls is to get damage badges. Yes, damage badges are enabled in the skulls trios mode, which is actually really rare nowadays, so I thought I'd outline it. Also, Revenant is getting a prestige skin, and we're going to touch on that later in this video, but one really cool thing is, he gets an exclusive skydive trail with it that can be used on any legend, and this is actually really cool, although it's not $160 cool. Basically, it's a skydive trail with loads of skulls around it, and I don't want to be the one to say it, but this is really similar to the Pred dive trail, which has now been removed from the rank rewards. Coincidence? I'm going to leave it there. One thing that's not a coincidence though is that Pathfinder has found out how to be friends with the evil skulls. Yes, in a weird way he can be friends with them, and he can actually grapple the skulls, which is really awesome and allows you to do some really cheeky movement if you want to be like that. Basically, all you need to do is throw the skull and pretty much immediately grapple it, and you should get thrown a decent way. Personally, the best use I can see for this is if you get caught out in a field in the middle of nowhere, throw a skull away and just use it as a point to grapple with so you don't get caught in the open. But hopefully we see some clips of this because it's really awesome, to be fair. But what about the Revenant prestige skin? We've talked about his skulls and his skydive. Well, it's actually looking really good, and the 3 tiers are actually 3 tiers I would genuinely use. Tier 1 of the skin I personally think looks a lot like Darth Maul, although a lot of people did say it looks like a character from Berserk. Unfortunately, I don't know who that character is because I haven't read it. The second tier, personally, I think is the best tier, where he just looks like a forgotten king in ways. He looks like a Dark Souls boss almost. There's probably a Dark Souls boss that looks exactly like this. And the final tier kind of reminds me of that guy from Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know why, maybe you can see it. It might just be me though. Regardless, this skin is really cool, and it has a really awesome finisher where Revenant just sucks the enemies through his chest for his finisher, which is really damn cool, and they've even got their hands sticking out at the end. Really gory finisher, really awesome skin, still not worth $160. And if the price annoys you, well, the challenges in game will probably annoy you as well, because for some reason, with this new update, a lot of challenges have glitched to a minus negative amount. So if you're trying to complete a challenge for say 1,000 assault rifle damage, you could well be stuck at minus 17,000 and basically have to do 18,000 damage to complete this challenge. Hopefully Respawn fixes this one, but I've seen this as the #1 complaint of this update, which is mostly a good thing because it is quite a minor issue. And you could deep dive into the files to find why this is an issue, or you could deep dive into the files to find out about the Battle Pass update seemingly next season now. Because yes, this season you are going to be able to pre-order the Season 19 Battle Pass. There are icons for it right now in the files, and it does seem that there's going to be an L-Star skin, it could be a reactive L-Star next season on the Battle Pass, also a Pathfinder skin, a Maggie skin, and either a Charm and a Hollow Spray. Now from previous data mines, we know the pre-order system will give you 1 free bonus reward, so perhaps the bonus reward is going to be that Hollow Spray or Charm. Most likely is, unfortunately. But this does also seem to confirm that the L-Star is the reactive for next season because we already have a reactive Eva 8. So hey, what do you think of that one? And while I'm on the topic for asking for your opinions, also what's your opinion on this weird little almost Loba nerf we got? Because her passive allows her to see loot through walls and especially the rarity on them. And for some reason in this update, Respawn actually made the outlines of the loot bigger, making it harder to see what the actual loot is through the walls because it now just looks bigger and blobbier. We don't actually know if this is deliberate, but a lot of people have been noticing this and complaining about it. It kind of does screw up readability a bit, but maybe it is a deliberate nerf just to make her a bit less effective at seeing loot through walls at further ranges. But what are your thoughts on that one? Back to the skull grenades as I promised though, because there's currently a weird little issue going on with them. I'm sure you've thrown one and got some damage with it, and I'm sure you've gone to the tracker and looked at the badge and realised your damage has not been counted from the rev grenades for some weird reason. And don't worry, because Respawn have noticed this, and they said they're sending out a patch to fix this. And upon fixing this, Respawn will lower the damage needed from 1000 to 500 to make it easier to catch up if you have been screwed over by this issue. But this issue is affecting everyone, so currently this badge is impossible. RIP, I guess. But basically, don't worry too much if you are having this issue, because Respawn does know about it. One thing you may have an issue with in the future though is Rampart, because she actually got a buff in this update, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on it. A few people on Reddit did pick up on this and start calling it the Fortnite meta for Rampart, but now she can place down walls like 10 times faster than she could before. There's no animation to wait for, now it's just straight speed building. So with Rampart you can put cover down way faster, and you can probably react to enemies catching you out a lot quicker, and also barricade houses a lot faster. So I do think the meta may become more favourable of Rampart in the future. Probably not immediately, everyone's going to wait for one pro to pick her up, realise she's good, and then everyone will pick her up. A whole Seer situation again, but I honestly think she has a lot of potential as an offensive legend with this new buff. But I guess that's going to be down to the general player base. On to the next thing though, because what level are you? Comment down below, as it may get easier to level up in the future, as Respawn just added a whole new section for XP boosts. Basically, they're going to start adding more types of XP boosting, from battle passes, from using a certain weapon, from squadding up, kind of leading me to think Respawn may be cooking more levels or something like that in the future. Yesterday we did discuss that they are going to do Legend Mastery, which was data mined, so we don't really know what could be on the horizon, and maybe a lot more progression systems to keep you all playing Apex, which at the end of the day is what EA wants, right? They want you to keep playing, and more importantly, keep paying. Back to the schools again though, I do like going back to these little guys, they're very silly. As you may notice, the school grenades have actually been in game for a bit more than a month now, because when Revenant's Heirloom Reclaimer first came out, it came with an emote, and this emote involved, hey, you guessed it, the school grenades. And these guys also taunted Revenant, so these guys are just the biggest cyberbullies. But hey, they were present before they released. But back onto nerfs and buffs, because Fuse did get a buff for his knuckle cluster along with his heirloom. Surprise, surprise. But this buff removed one functionality which a lot of people are actually missing, although I don't even remember trying to use it, because you used to be able to zoom with knuckle clusters. But unfortunately with this update we've lost the ability to zoom, but I guess gain the ability to shoot the knuckle clusters faster, which is more important in my opinion. And if you do really want to zoom, just pull out his ultimate. Little known fact, you can actually zoom in and out with that thing, which is actually pretty useful now I think of it. Hold tight for this one though, because this is going to be a bit of a mouthful, and I did talk about this yesterday, but I have a lot more stuff that I found, which is very exciting. Because as some of my viewers know, at Halloween we are getting a brand new LTM, which basically allows legends to trade abilities with a certain survival item. So basically you could be Octane, and when you have this survival item you could use Caustic's abilities, which was the example in the promo image. But it turns out one of the abilities that legends are going to be able to use is Mirage's ultimate, because every single legend in the game got Bamboozle voice lines ready for this LTM. So Fuse, Ballistic, anybody literally has a Bamboozle voice line. Here's a few really interesting ones in my opinion.
Bamboozled. Perhaps some critical thinking next time.
You have been fooled by a bamboozle.
You have been bamboozled.
Bamboozled. Who would choose to talk like this?
And here are the legends actually pinging the survival item, which will allow you to use other legends' abilities.
Copycat kid here. Alright pals, I'm using a copycat ability.
This event is coming out on the 17th of October, and it is going to be the Halloween LTM, so this is going to be super exciting, and I personally cannot wait for this. Much like I couldn't wait to hop back on the train, because believe it or not, this is Season 3 World's Edge with a few edits, so that means the train's running around, right? Well, maybe a bit, because right now if you go to Pain Yard or Train Yard, there is a train and it looks like it's ready to be functional. So you go up to it, press the go button, and it doesn't work. It's out of service. Yes, Respawn officially trolled us. They advertised in the patch notes and the YouTube description that the train is coming back, but they were right. It's really a train to nowhere. I thought it was a train to nowhere because it goes in a loop, but no, it just doesn't move. Thank you Respawn for really trolling us there. I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of a good one. And finally, the one thing that has taken the community by storm this update is the leaked Halloween skins for the Halloween event. And one of them is a Lifeline skin, and this is the one we're going to be focused on because for some reason the community has been really focused on this skin. Now, I'm not really sure why, but there's been a lot of memes made about this, and I want to say, guys, these memes are inappropriate, so stop making them, and please don't make any more, and tag me in them, because it's really funny. But hey, those are my favourite things from this update. Did you spot anything weird, or any weird voice lines or anything like that? And also, subscribe if you like this content, and more will come.